It's Jesse with J2 Taxidermy. So we're just going to do a video today on skinning an antelope skull out. They're a little bit different than deer, but same concept. So we just use the Avalon blades. Today I just have the Piranha. Normally we just use a regular handle, but the Avalon blades do work the best for pretty much all of this. Yeah, so same concept as deer and elk. You just start kind of right in the cheekbone, and you're gonna follow that basically just straight up, and then you're gonna come right in between the horns and the ear. It's kind of the best way I've found to do it over the years, and we're just gonna cut all the way around to the next cheek clip, and then we'll find our cut right here, and then I just like to make a cut right here down the neck. So that's basically the cuts you do. And then when we start skinning, I just grab a hold of an ear and start skinning everything back. We're gonna take the lower section off first. So you just work the knife right down. We'll try to take as much meat off as we can with the skin, but yeah, you just work the skin back. I'll flip it up here. Get that tongue out of the way. So just work it around to the other side, and that just gets rid of all that skin. It's gonna make it easier for getting the jaw off. I found it's just quicker to get that lower section of skin off. Makes everything else a little easier. So then I start right here and just kind of work up here. I do leave a tuft of hair around the eye, same as I do the deer, but we're gonna cut up right here. So here's where it gets a little bit different with the antelope. You gotta kind of come in from the top, in between base of the hair and the horn, and just kind of cut down. It does dull your blade right here a little bit because you are cutting through a little hair. That's why these replaceable blades are nice. They just get dull and you get a new one. But yeah, you just work right around the horn, come in between the hair, and just find where that hair meets the horn. That's where you're gonna cut straight in. And then just make sure you don't cut any of the actual horn. So basically kind of how you're gonna do with caping them too. You definitely wanna save that. Obviously we're skinning it differently, but, and then I'll just kind of cut this little piece off. That way we can work around to the other side. Then same deal with this eye. You just kind of cut straight up, leaving some hair around the eye. And then we come up right to the base of the horn. And we're gonna try and get as much of that hair off as we can. Yeah, just wherever the hair meets the horn, that's where you're cutting. And right around the eye, just kind of work it around just like you do the deer. So let's get rid of this piece. Because the reason we leave this tuft of hair is for something to hang on to while we're trying to get the eyeball out. And you just kind of cut straight down, following the socket of the eye, getting as much meat out and tissue as you can. It's less for either the bugs to eat, or if you're boiling, less to cook, so just getting as much as we can out. Yeah, you can just follow all the way around, and then you can kind of see this optical nerve right in here. That's kind of what's connecting everything. You just slice that away and remove the eyeball, and then you do the same on this side. Yeah, just cut, following the eye socket around again. And kind of give her a little angle so we can get to that optical nerve in there. So we got a little rigor mortis going on. Same deal, just cut that nerve and the eyeball comes right out. So I always like to do a blade change. So now what we're gonna do with this is, this one has a little bit of neck left on it, so just cut right between the kind of the vertebrae and the esophagus, straight back. There's going to be two little nubbin bones. Let's see if we can see those. Right here, there's one on each side, and you come on the vertebrae side of those, and then you kind of see the atlas joint right here with your brain stem. We're just going to slide right in there and then work around that atlas joint, taking as much meat off the actual skull as you can. So you kind of see the atlas joint on this side. Same deal, there's the brain stem, and you just poke right in there, and then you're able to just remove that with your knife. Do not use a sawzall on these, or a saw. You'll risk cutting the back end off, and it does not make it for a very nice gyro mount. So then what I always do next is I'll remove the tongue, generally all the way. Antelope is not too big of a deal. But right where these little nubs are, there's two bones that are going to connect to the tongue itself. So I'll come on the inside of those and just make a U, kind of cut that down, exposing the esophagus. And then you got these two bones right here, come right underneath that nub on top. And they join the skull right there. So you just cut that joint like so. And then we'll just follow the jaw back down on that side and do the same on the other side. So we'll just come on the inside of the jaw, and we've already cut the joint there. So you just pull that off, and then I'll pull the tongue down to about right here. Now what we do is we come up on the outside of the jaw, follow right up the hinge on both sides, inside and outside. And then underneath, you just make a little cut right here and here. And then you can just easily pull that right out. So basically now it's just a little cleanup where you're gonna cut as much meat off as you can. So I like to get everything inside the eye cavity. Their antelope are a little more difficult just because they're smaller to work with and slippery. So I just get as much as I can off so we're not either cooking it or having the beetles eat it. That way it'll speed your time up one way or the other for either boiling, beetles, etc. They don't need to be perfect. Just get as much as you can. And then there's a chunk of meat back here, right behind. We'll just pull that out. Some guys will throw that in the grind pile. Since we did not harvest this antelope, it'll go in the trash. Because that's just weird. This side, you just follow the bone, just get right along the bone and or skull, if you will. That way you're getting as much as you can in one stroke. We just want her to come out with as few strokes as possible. This little fat. Sometimes you can peel that out. Don't really necessarily need to grab it. But yeah, that's about all you really need to do for skinning these. The next step on an antelope is to remove the horns. There's multiple ways of doing that. Some guys will rot them off. You can steam them off, boil them off. Our preferred method is to steam these off. It's fast and you can do quite a few at once. Then you don't risk mixing horns up. So yeah, that's a skinning job on an antelope.